About 17 minutes away from Columbia's first encounters with the atmosphere, that occurring in altitude about 75 miles above the Pacific Ocean to the north of the Hawaiian Islands. Flight Dynamics Officer here in Mission Control, Richard Jones, continuing to discuss runway options and approach for Columbia, the best possible approach for the shuttle landing facility. Columbia currently targeted toward a landing on Kennedy Space Center runway 33, end of the shuttle landing facility runway. Discussion as to whether or not that may be switched to runway 15. That decision expected as Columbia continues its descent. There's no issue with making that decision as Columbia is descending. That's been done during previous shuttle entries as well. Columbia's altitude now 71 statute miles as it enters Earth's atmosphere above the Pacific Ocean en route to the Kennedy Space Center. Its speed 17,000 miles per hour. Columbia with wings level and nose angled up about 40 degrees to control heating as it descends into the atmosphere. Its altitude now 68 miles. As Columbia descends into the atmosphere and approaches the continental United States, it'll perform the first in a series of 4 banks. It performs as it approaches the Kennedy Space Center. The first bank to the right, then back to the left, then back to the right, and then a final bank to the left as it approaches Kennedy and the shuttle landing facility runway. Those designed to dissipate speed for the shuttle as it descends into the atmosphere toward landing. Just under 30 minutes to touchdown for Columbia now. Altitude 64 miles. Columbia speed 16,620 miles per hour. Range to touchdown at the Kennedy Space Center runway, 3,450 statute miles. Columbia in almost an 80-degree bank to the right to dissipate speed. The first of 4 banks it performs as it approaches Florida to slow down as it descends. Altitude now 47 miles, or about 248,000 feet. The shuttle speed is 16,400 miles per hour. Aboard the shuttle on the flight deck are Commander Rick Husband and pilot Willie McCool, Flight Engineer Kalpana Chawla, and Mission Specialist Laurel Clark. On the lower deck of the shuttle for entry, our Payload Commander Mike Anderson, Mission Specialist David Brown, and Payload Specialist from the Israel Space Agency, Alon Ramon. Shuttle's altitude now 45 miles, speed 15,800 miles per hour, continuing in a right bank with wings angled 70 degrees, the first of 4 banks it performs to dissipate speed as it approaches landing. Columbia crossing the California coast, again just to the north of the San Francisco area. Its course will take it across Sacramento, California. Columbia continuing toward Florida, now approaching the New Mexico-Texas border. Altitude 40 miles. Speed 13,200 miles per hour. Range to touchdown 1,400 miles. The shuttle in the left bank with wings angled about 57 degrees to horizontal.
And Columbia, Houston, we see your tire pressure messages and we did not copy your last.
Roger,
Columbia, Houston, UHF comm check.
Capcom Charlie Hobaugh calling Columbia on UHF frequency as it approaches the Merritt Island tracking station range in Florida. 12.5 minutes to touchdown according to clocks and mission control.
Columbia, Houston, UHF comm check. Columbia, Houston, UHF comm check.
Communications with Columbia were lost at about 8 a.m. Central Time, about 10 minutes ago. This is Mission Control Houston. Flight controllers here continue in a contingency, securing information and notes. Search and rescue teams have been mobilized to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. No tracking data or communications has been reported from the Space Shuttle Columbia since 8 a.m. Central Time this morning as it flew 200,000 feet above north central Texas en route to a landing at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. This is Mission Control Houston. Flight controllers here in Mission Control have declared a contingency as communications was lost with the Space Shuttle Columbia during its descent from orbit en route to a landing at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The last communications with Columbia occurred at about 8 a.m. Central Time as it was above the north central Texas area at an altitude of approximately 200,000 feet. Any debris that is located in the vicinity of the north central Texas area that may be related to the shuttle contingency should be reported to local law enforcement, who will then report to NASA. It should be avoided. Debris could be potentially hazardous due to toxic substances that are used as propellants on the space shuttle. Flight controllers here are securing all information and notes and data pertinent to the scheduled descent and landing of the shuttle today as part of contingency procedures. Search and rescue teams in the Dallas-Fort Worth area have been alerted. Again, any debris that is located in the north central Texas vicinity that may be related to the space shuttle contingency should be reported to local law enforcement authorities and should be avoided as it may be hazardous due to toxic substances that are used as propellants for the space shuttle.
Shuttle veteran, also a Mir veteran, retired astronaut as well. Jerry, what are your thoughts as you look at this scene and what might be going on right now for NASA, for the professionals, for search and rescue?
Well, it's a horrible thing, and I'm sure they're just trying to put the parts together and try to reconstruct things so it never happens again. You got to get to the root of what happened there.
Yeah. We were just talking to Norm about this concept that the most dangerous period of time is the first 8.5 minutes of the mission, the point where the rockets are firing and all the things are exploding behind you. How many scenarios do the crews and their simulations run through on re-entry?
Yeah, just, I don't want to say infinite, but I mean you train and you train and you train. But I can tell you re-entry, the normal re-entry kind of sounds like a locomotive train coming up behind you. Very dynamic. You're inside a fireball. Plasma collapsing around you. It's like the worst turbulence you've ever been on in an airplane. So it is very dynamic, and if you lose your orientation in space and the tiles aren't pointing in the right direction, you get what you're seeing here today.